What if your hardest working employee is the one that you think isn't trying? Not because they lack ability and not because they don't care, but because the environment they're working in wasn't designed for how their brain actually thinks. This is something I see often, and today I want to talk about why different brains are not a problem to manage, but actually a competitive advantage when work is designed properly. I'm Nikki Palamountain, and I work with people of all ages, many of whom are capable, thoughtful, and deeply committed to their work. Yet, they're working twice as hard as those around them just to keep up. Often, what gets labelled as slow, inefficient, or not quite up to speed is actually invisible effort, and that effort is really recognised. So, why is it that capable people struggle in employment or at work? Capable employees often struggle at work not because of their ability or motivation, but because the workplace environment creates unnecessary friction. When information is delivered in only one way, expectations can be unclear or sensory demands are high. Some people have to expend enormous mental energy just to function. Over time, that invisible effort leads to exhaustion, reduced confidence, and the false impression of underperformance. This is not actually a people problem, it's a design problem. So if we take the example of the bank clerk that I was working with who spent hours of her own time just to send out templates so she was able to do her job more efficiently. That effort was never recognised. I've also worked with a 57-year-old man whose employers repeatedly told him he wasn't up to speed. He was a machine with his physical work. However, he really struggled when that paperwork was involved. What they saw was someone who was a bit dumb and incapable because his reading and writing skills were, in their eyes, substandard. What they didn't see was the effort that it took him to process that information that was being delivered in the ways that didn't suit how his brain worked. He wasn't actually underperforming, he was actually under-supported. I've also worked with women in their 60s who had successfully managed their roles for decades until a workplace change, like moving to an open plan office, made the coping strategies that they had always used impossible to maintain. They hadn't changed, but the environment had. In some cases, the emotional toll of years of that misunderstanding was profound. This isn't just about productivity, it's also about dignity, well-being, and whether people feel safe to be themselves at work. It starts long before employment. What many businesses don't realise is that this pattern doesn't start at work. It often starts at school. Many people arrive in the workplaces already convinced that they are the problem, already working hard to hide their differences and challenges, and they're already exhausted before they begin. I work with adults who still carry the shame from early learning experiences, even when they're highly capable people and contributing meaningfully in their fields today. So what is it that actually helps neurodivergent employees at work? Supporting different thinkers doesn't mean lowering standards. It means removing unnecessary barriers. The things that actually help include offering information in more than one format, being clear and specific about the expectations, ensuring instructions are clear and understood, allowing flexibility in where and how work is done, stopping the habit of equating speed with competence. And it's great to be able to normalise assistive technology as a smart way of working. These changes don't just help neurodivergent people, they improve clarity, reduce burnout, and support performance for everyone involved. So, why does this actually matter in business? Well, there's around 20% of the population that is neurodivergent. In most workplace, that's not a small group of people, it's a whole part of your team. These are often your problem solvers, your specialists, your people with deep expertise. However, without the right environment, they're also at higher risk of burnout and leaving that employment. When the work is designed for how people actually think, you don't just retain talent, you unlock it. Capability is often hidden by the wrong environment. When environments support neurodivergent thinking, people contribute more, not less. They gain confidence. So the question is and isn't whether workplaces can afford to make their changes, it's whether they can afford not to. If this video was helpful today, please remember to like, share and subscribe. It really does help this message reach to people who need to hear it. Thanks so much for listening.